Same thing with cannabis. Anyone tell you that because of pain and sickness and difficulty you have to smoke, it's a certificate to destroy your heart, to kill your lungs, destroy your heart, destroy your blood and take away your spirituality. Why don't you take oil? It didn't require you to burn your lungs in that process. And we said that when they brought the cold smoke, what is that? The e-cigarette? They tried to fool the children saying, this is just vaping, it's like a fog, you take it in. No, actually that cold fume went deeper into your lungs and killed you in ways that the hot smoke couldn't do. So shaitan is attacking insan. He wants to take out your breathing, wants to take out your lungs, wants to take out your heart so that you don't reach your finish line. If you should reach this reality of tazkiyah and reach the kingdom of Allah in which Allah qalb al-mu'min baitullah, that your heart becomes the house of Allah, you'll have the power of 1000 men, whether you're man or woman. Do you think shaitan wants that? No. Vaping was shaitan's way of killing you faster, because they found out the heat of the cigarette, it can only go so deep. The warmth of it hurts and burns the lungs. So vaping they found actually was significantly worse, because with the cold it can go much deeper into the lungs and crystallize onto the lungs. So that's why immediately shaitan tried to kill everybody with vaping right before he introduced this pandemic. Can you imagine if Allah's rahmah had not brought awareness to the vaping, how many young people would have died during this pandemic? Because right prior to this pandemic the world came out and said, oh this vaping is actually dangerous, we got to stop it, and many states and countries banned it and put all sorts of controls, because kids were all just vaping thinking it's just cold and not a big deal. But had that come with the mixture of what shaitan wanted to do with the pandemic, they would have all died with the flu, that they wouldn't have been able to fight the flu. There was crystallization on their lungs from what they were doing. So these are all weapons of shaitan, so that mankind never reaches their trust. We said that if a person reaches to be rijal and reaches to God's satisfaction, Allah would dress him with the power of 1000 men. By Allah they are the strength of at least 1,000 men. So it's a chess game. If they get into the board and they become knighted, well, shaitan knows the game, he's not going to let you get to that side of the board and to be knighted by Allah. And that's the whole shatranj, the whole game of chess is that reality. You're moving on your board to get to the king and queen and the heavenly kingdom, so that Allah will knight you. Once He knights you, you move on this board in any direction you need to. Means Allah support you with an immense support and have many abilities that become now a weapon against shayateen, and they're very scared of insan once he reaches towards that reality. So their whole life and their whole existence is to destroy that and never allow them. That's why drink and smoke and all of these activities are meant to destroy insan and destroy their ability to be knighted by Allah, destroy their lungs, destroy their blood, destroy their liver and their heart, so that they have no value to Allah. When a person tries to leave an addiction, they have all sorts of withdrawals and detox and mood swings, and how do we deal with that? One is that to know that the addictions are real and that there's a nefarious and a wickedness that enters within the person. So the spirituality of detoxing is that these creatures don't want to come out. So for one, the lightest one for people that it's more prevalent amongst people is smoking. You think it's just a cigarette with some toxins, but it represents something of a spiritual nature of the shayateen. And every time somebody inhales, the progeny of shaitans enter into the lung of that human. That's why Satan developed that, evilness developed it. Every puff they take, because their nature is of a wind, and this dirty, contaminated, and they say about 100 different carcinogens, poisons are in that. So poison meaning what? These are the zuriya of shayateen, these are the children and offspring of nefarious energy. Soon as somebody inhales and takes their puff, hundreds of these are being born now into their lungs. Because their nation is in billions, could hundreds of millions could be fitting in a room because they don't have a mass like us. So imagine how much negativity is being sent into the lungs of somebody, the progeny of these nefarious creatures, that they're inhabiting the lungs of that person, the wujood of that person. They begin to occupy so much inside the person, they control how the person talks. So you see these smokers are very fiery in their character, very angry. It's not him because he's got 10 million shaitan inside of him breathing inside his lungs, and every day he's bringing new ones by every puff and inhaling that he's putting into his body, she's putting into their body. So of course no doubt when you want to stop, it's not that you tell everybody, get out, I'm finished with you. It's like trying to evict a whole bunch of people that are living in your apartment that you didn't want them to be there. And the eviction process is very difficult. You can't just say, I changed my mind, everybody out. You have to call the police, you have to call the sheriff, and you have to call people to get them out. So that becomes then the du'as and all the practices that as soon as you tell the shaykhs that, oh I have this thing, and it's okay, recite Surat al-Fatiha on this water, recite it 40 times upon the water, and keep reciting and drinking every day this water with the du'as, the Sharaf al-Nabi, and ask for the shaykh's du'a, and they start to make du'a for you. Drink this water because this light goes in and begin to push these bad characteristics out. And that becomes then the salawats, the awrad and all these practices to keep a rope of light that keep pushing in and pushing these occupants out so they don't come back and they don't inhabit the body where the person doesn't want to. And that's the source of every bad action and bad characteristic, is they come in and inspire the servant from smoking. Then they say, well why don't you just put some drinking on top of that, and then they usually from smoking start to do some drinking, and then from drinking they start to do other things and lose their ability and to say yes and no and to understand the difference of yes and no. And these are gateways into many different difficulties and horrific characteristics.